Marcus Chen had been living quietly on the frontier planet of Kepler 442b for 3 standard years. The former Earth Defense Force sniper thought his war days were behind him when humanity joined the Galactic Empire. He was wrong. The morning started like any other. Marcus tended to his small farm, checking the hybrid crops that grew well in the alien soil. The twin suns cast strange shadows across his property, and the purple grass rustled in the artificial breeze from the atmospheric processors. It was peaceful here, far from the political games of the galactic capital. He didn't know that High Admiral Vexstar had marked him for death. The Zephyrian Admiral sat in his command chamber, aboard the massive dreadnought Void's Edge, studying the human's file. According to Imperial records, Marcus Chen was responsible for over 300 confirmed kills during humanity's integration wars. More troubling were the unconfirmed reports. Entire Sori battalions found with their command structures eliminated by precise, long-range fire. Krillian assault fleets losing their navigation officers from distances that shouldn't have been possible. "This human is a threat to Imperial stability," Vexstar told his aide, a nervous Altarian named Quip. "Our species fought for millennia to establish this empire. We cannot allow one primitive to undermine our authority." The truth was more personal. Marcus had killed Vexstar's younger brother during the Titan Station siege. The official reports called it a military action, but Vexstar saw it as murder. Humans had joined the Empire, yes, but they needed to remember their place. "Send the Phantom Squadron," Vexstar ordered. "Make it look like raiders. I want this human eliminated quietly." Back on Kepler 442b, Marcus was repairing his irrigation system when his early warning sensors triggered. Years of military training kicked in automatically. He dropped his tools and moved to his concealed observation post, a small bunker hidden beneath what looked like a storage shed. Through his scope, he watched 3 unmarked ships descend through the atmosphere. They moved with military precision despite their civilian appearance. The ships landed in a triangle formation around his farm, positioning themselves to cut off all escape routes. Marcus counted 12 figures emerging from the vessels. They moved like professionals, checking corners and communicating through hand signals. Their equipment looked expensive and military-grade. These weren't pirates or raiders. The lead figure was tall and thin, with the characteristic blue skin of a Zephyrian. Marcus recognized the species from his military briefings. Zephyrians were known for their tactical brilliance and their arrogance. They believed themselves superior to most other species, especially humans. The assassin team spread out, approaching Marcus's farmhouse from multiple angles. They carried advanced energy weapons and wore personal shields that shimmered faintly in the alien sunlight. Their leader spoke into a communication device, probably coordinating with orbital support. Marcus had 2 choices. He could try to run, but his ship was in the open and they would shoot him down before he reached orbit. Or he could fight. The odds were 12 to 1. But Marcus had faced worse. He chose to fight. The human sniper opened his weapon cache, hidden beneath the farmhouse floor. Inside were tools he had hoped never to use again. His custom rifle, designed for extreme range work. Armor-piercing rounds that could punch through energy shields. A portable camouflage system that bent light around him. Marcus suited up quickly but carefully. The targeting computer on his rifle came online, scanning the area and marking potential threats. The weapon was a hybrid of human and alien technology, built during the integration wars when Earth's forces had to adapt quickly to survive. He chose his first target carefully. The Zephyrian leader stood near the largest ship, confident in his shields and the superiority of his team. From 800 meters away, Marcus lined up the shot. The armor-piercing round punched through the alien's personal shield like paper. The Zephyrian dropped instantly, his squad suddenly leaderless. The remaining 11 assassins reacted with trained efficiency, diving for cover and activating their scanning equipment. But Marcus was already gone, using his camouflage system to relocate to a new position. His second shot came from a completely different angle, taking out the team's communication specialist. Without their leader and their ability to coordinate, the professional killers began to make mistakes. Third shot eliminated their heavy weapons operator just as he was setting up a plasma cannon. The remaining 9 assassins began to panic. Firing wildly at shadows and sensor ghosts, Marcus moved like a predator, using the terrain he had studied for 3 years. He knew every rock, every dip in the ground, every angle of approach. The assassins were skilled, but they were fighting on his territory now. The fourth shot came from above, where Marcus had climbed onto his farmhouse roof. The round took out another Zephyrian, this one carrying advanced scanning gear. The survivors couldn't locate their attacker, despite their superior technology. "Where is he?" shouted one of the assassins, a reptilian saurid with nervous eyes. The sensors show nothing. His partner, a multi-armed Krillian, swept his weapon across the empty landscape. Impossible! No human could be this precise at these ranges. Our intelligence must be wrong. They were learning what the galaxy had discovered during humanity's integration period. Humans were persistence hunters from a death world. They could track prey across vast distances, wait motionless for hours, and strike with lethal precision when the moment was right. Marcus's fifth shot eliminated the Saurid who had spoken. The remaining 8 assassins made a critical error. They bunched together for mutual protection, exactly what a sniper hopes to see. The 6th shot took out another Zephyrian. 7 left. The surviving assassins finally recognized their situation. They were being systematically hunted by an opponent they couldn't see, couldn't track, and couldn't escape. Their superior technology meant nothing against an enemy who refused to fight on their terms. They broke for their ships. Marcus let them run halfway across the open ground before taking his 7th shot. The round dropped the fastest runner, a Zephyrian female who had almost reached safety. The remaining 6 assassins scrambled aboard their vessels, desperation overriding their military training. The ships lifted off raggedly, their pilots pushing the engines beyond safety limits. Marcus watched them climb through his scope, calculating trajectories and distances. At 2,000 meters altitude, well within his rifle's range, he fired again. The 8th shot penetrated the command cockpit of the lead ship. The vessel spun out of control, its pilot dead at the controls. It crashed into the purple grassland with a thunderous explosion that shook Marcus's farmhouse. The remaining 2 ships accelerated toward orbit, their crews probably radioing frantically for evacuation. Marcus could have shot them down too, but he had made his point. Let them report back to whoever sent them. Admiral Vexstar received the survivors' report in stunned silence. 8 of his best assassins dead. 1 ship destroyed. The human sniper not only alive, but triumphant. "You're telling me," Vexstar said slowly, "that 1 human eliminated 2/3 of Phantom Squadron, while they were using military-grade shields and weapons?" The surviving squad leader, a scarred Krillian named Vek, nodded miserably. "He was invisible, Admiral. Our sensors detected nothing. He struck from impossible distances with perfect accuracy. We never even saw him." Vexstar's crest flared with rage. This was supposed to be a simple elimination mission. Instead, his elite unit had been humiliated by a single human farmer. What about orbital surveillance? Satellite imagery? The human disabled all monitoring systems in his area before the engagement began, Vek reported. "We have no visual record of the battle. All we found were the bodies of our people and the wreckage of Beta 7. The Admiral studied the tactical display, trying to understand how 1 human could defeat a squad of professional killers. According to the files, humans were supposed to be primitive, barely worthy of minor client species status in the Empire. Perhaps the reports about human combat effectiveness were not exaggerated after all," whispered Quip. The Admiral's aide, Vexstar, struck the small alien across the face. "Silence! 1 lucky human does not make an entire species dangerous. We simply underestimated this particular individual." But privately, the Admiral was beginning to worry. During the integration wars, human forces had consistently achieved impossible victories against superior odds. Imperial commanders had assumed it was luck or perhaps alien technology assistance. Now Vexstar wondered if they had been wrong. On Kepler 442b, Marcus Chun cleaned his rifle and buried the dead assassins. He felt no satisfaction in their deaths, only the familiar weight of necessity. Whoever had sent these killers would send more. His quiet retirement was over. He transmitted a coded message to certain contacts back on Earth, military friends who had also tried to disappear into civilian life. The message was simple. The war isn't finished. They're coming for us individually now. Across human space, former soldiers received similar warnings. Some ignored them, hoping to maintain their peaceful lives. Others began preparing for battle once again. Marcus packed his essential gear and activated the hidden beacon he had hoped never to use. Within 6 hours, a small, fast ship landed near his farm. The pilot was Sarah Kim, another former EDF sniper The Nexus station floated in the neutral zone between human and Imperial space. Officially, it was a trading post where different species conducted business under strict non-aggression treaties. Unofficially, it was where information, weapons, and assassins changed hands for the right price. Marcus Chun sat in the station's dimly lit cantina, studying the crowd through seemingly casual glances. He had arrived 3 days ago, using false identification papers that cost him 6 months of farming profits. The dead assassin's equipment had yielded valuable intelligence, including encrypted communication logs that led him here. The equipment told a story. Military-grade weapons purchased through shell companies. Communication crystals tuned to Imperial naval frequencies. Most importantly, payment authorization codes that trace back to Admiral Vexstar of the Zephyrian Fourth Fleet. Now Marcus knew who wanted him dead. The question was why, and whether this was personal vendetta or Imperial policy. "You look lonely, human," said a voice behind him. Marcus didn't turn around, but his reflection in his drink glass showed a female Altarian approaching. She was small and blue-skinned, with the large eyes typical of her species. "Perhaps you would enjoy some company?" "Depends on what kind of company you're offering," Marcus replied. Keeping his voice neutral, the Altarian slid into the booth across from him. "Information company. Very expensive, but very accurate. My name is Zira." Marcus had heard of her. Zira was an information broker who sold secrets to anyone with enough credits. She was also reportedly Admiral Vexstar's former intelligence officer, dismissed from service for reasons that varied depending on who told the story. "What makes you think I need information?" Marcus asked. Zira smiled, revealing sharp teeth that seemed wrong for her delicate features. "Because 3 days ago, someone used Imperial assassination techniques to eliminate 8 professional killers on a frontier farm. Because that same someone is now sitting in my station asking careful questions about Zephyrian naval operations. Because Admiral Vexstar has been very angry lately." Marcus considered his options. Zira could be working for the Admiral, trying to draw him into a trap. But information brokers rarely worked for free, and her dismissal from Imperial service suggested she had her own grievances. "Hypothetically," Marcus said, "what would someone pay for information about why a certain admiral might want a certain human farmer dead?" "For that information? 50,000 credits?" Zira leaned back in her chair. "But for you, Marcus Chun, I might consider a trade." The fact that she knew his name wasn't surprising. Good information brokers knew everything that happened in their territory. But Marcus stayed alert anyway. "What kind of trade?" "I tell you why Vexstar wants you dead. In return, you kill him for me." Zira's expression hardened. "He destroyed my career and my reputation because I refused to falsify intelligence reports. Revenge would be worth more than credits." Marcus studied the small alien across from him. Altarians were known for their intelligence and their long memories. If Vexstar had wronged her, she would indeed want revenge. "Tell me what you know first. Then we'll discuss terms." Zira activated a privacy field generator, surrounding their table with a shimmer of distorted air that would prevent eavesdropping. Vexstar's younger brother Kexstar was killed during the Titan Station siege, shot through the head by a human sniper at extreme range. The Admiral has been obsessed with finding and killing that sniper ever since. Marcus remembered Titan Station. It had been one of the last battles of the Integration Wars, a desperate defense of a strategic position. He had indeed eliminated multiple Zephyrian officers during the siege, but he couldn't remember their names. To him, they had just been targets. Why now? That was 3 years ago. Because Vexstar finally got access to classified human military records, Zira explained. The Empire demanded complete personnel files as part of the integration treaty. Vexstar cross-referenced ballistics evidence from his brother's death with human sniper capabilities. Your name came up as the most likely shooter. So it was personal after all. Marcus felt a familiar cold settle in his chest. During the wars, killing had been about survival and duty. Now it was about old grief and the refusal to let the past die. Is this official Imperial policy or just one admiral's vendetta? Vendetta? But Vexstar has convinced his superiors that eliminating former human military personnel is a security necessity. He's been hunting down your old unit members one by one, making it look like accidents or pirate attacks. Marcus's blood ran cold. How many? 12 confirmed dead so far. Maybe more that I haven't heard about. Zira pulled out a data pad and slid it across the table. Those are the names I know about. Friends of yours? Marcus scanned the list and felt sick. Johnson, dead in a transport accident. Rodriguez, killed by raiders. Williams, lost in a mining explosion. All of them former members of the 23rd Reconnaissance Division, his old unit. All of them among the best snipers humanity had ever produced. The bastard's been systematically murdering my people, Marcus whispered. Yes, and you were supposed to be next. Zira leaned forward. But you survived, which has made Vexstar desperate. He's already planning a larger operation to eliminate you, along with any other former human military personnel he can find. Marcus's mind raced. This wasn't just about him anymore. Vexstar was conducting a secret war against human veterans, using his official position to cover up systematic murder. I need proof, Marcus said. Something that will expose what he's been doing. I can get you that proof, but it will require infiltrating Vexstar's flagship. The evidence is in his personal files, encrypted and secured. Very dangerous. Marcus smiled grimly. Lady, I just killed 8 professional assassins with a hunting rifle. Dangerous is relative. 2 days later, Marcus infiltrated the Imperial fleet base at Sigma Draconis. He had traded his farming clothes for maintenance worker coveralls and carried identification that identified him as a human contract laborer. The Empire employed thousands of humans in menial positions, and one more was unlikely to attract attention. The base was massive, housing 3 full battle fleets and their support vessels. Hundreds of different species worked here, from the arrogant Zephyrian officers to the enslaved labor crews from conquered worlds. It was a monument to Imperial power and alien superiority. Marcus had studied the base layout for hours, memorizing guard rotations and security procedures. Zira had provided him with access codes and a map of Vexstar's flagship, the Void's Edge. Getting aboard would be challenging, but possible. The hard part would be getting back out alive. The Void's Edge was a kilometer-long dreadnought, bristling with weapons and shielded by energy barriers that could deflect asteroid impacts. Its crew numbered in the thousands. All loyal to Admiral Vexstar and the Imperial cause, Marcus approached the ship during shift change, when hundreds of workers moved between vessels. He blended into a group of human technicians, keeping his head down and his movements casual. The guards barely glanced at him as he passed through the security checkpoint. Once aboard, Marcus separated from the group and made his way toward the command section. Zira's intelligence indicated that Vexstar's personal files were stored in a secure data core near his private quarters. Getting there would require passing through multiple security zones. Marcus moved through the ship's corridors like a shadow, avoiding patrols and security cameras. Years of military training served him well as he navigated the alien vessel's layout. The corridors were built for taller species. Forcing him to stay alert for ceiling-mounted sensors, he reached the secure data core without incident, but found it protected by both electronic locks and a single Zephyrian guard. The guard was young and looked bored, probably assigned to this duty as punishment for some minor infraction. Marcus could have killed the guard quietly, but that would eventually be discovered and traced. Instead, he activated a small device Zira had given him. one that generated a false emergency signal from another part of the ship. The guard's communication device squawked to life, reporting a hull breach in the cargo bay. The young Zephyrian hesitated, looking between his post and his duty to respond to emergencies. Training one out, and he hurried away to investigate. Marcus had perhaps 10 minutes before the guard would discover the false alarm and return. He inserted Zira's access codes into the data core terminal and began copying files. The Admiral's personal records were extensive, covering years of military service and recent activities. Marcus filtered for anything related to human personnel or his old unit. What he found was worse than he had expected. Admiral Vextar hadn't just been hunting down Marcus's unit. He had been systematically identifying and eliminating human military personnel across the entire empire. The files contained hundreds of names, complete with planned assassination methods and target priorities. More horrifying were the Admiral's future plans. Phase 2 called for the elimination of human civilian leaders and government officials. Phase 3 involved orchestrating incidents that would justify removing humans from positions of authority throughout the empire. Vextar wasn't just seeking revenge. He was planning genocide. Marcus copied everything, his hands shaking slightly as he read casualty lists and execution orders. The Admiral had been very thorough, very careful, and very successful. Most of the G. Admiral Vextar stood in the ruins of his career, watching news reports that destroyed everything he had worked for. His secret war against humanity was now public knowledge. Imperial investigators were already seizing his files and arresting his co-conspirators. Within days, he would face trial for genocide and treason, but the disgraced admiral had no intention of facing trial. "Sir," his aide Quip whispered nervously, "the Imperial Council has issued a warrant for your arrest. Security forces are en route to this station." Vextar studied the tactical display in his private quarters aboard the Void's Edge. The massive dreadnought was still his to command, at least until the arrest warrant was officially served. His crew remained loyal, unaware of the charges against their commander. "How long until they arrive?" Vextar asked. 6 hours, sir. Maybe 7 if they stop to gather additional ships. 6 hours. Enough time for one final operation. Vextar had spent 3 years hunting human veterans in secret. Now he would complete his mission publicly, forcing the Empire to choose between condemning his actions or supporting human extermination. "Plot a course for the Sol system," he ordered. "Maximum speed?" Quip's scales paled to almost white. "Sir, that would be an act of war. The treaty specifically forbids Imperial warships from entering human home territory without permission." "The treaty is dead," Vextar snarled. "It died the moment humans began murdering Imperial citizens. We're simply finishing what they started." The aide backed toward the door. "Admiral, with respect, the evidence shows that you initiated hostilities against human civilians." The Chun incident was clearly Vextar S. Sidarm vaporized Quip before the Altarian could finish speaking. The Admiral stepped over the smoking remains and activated the ship's communication system. "All hands, this is Admiral Vextar. We have received intelligence indicating an imminent human terrorist attack on Zephyrian civilian targets. We are proceeding to Earth to eliminate this threat before it can be carried out. Any crew member unwilling to participate in this righteous mission is free to take a shuttle to the nearest station." It was a masterful lie, built on just enough truth to seem plausible. The crew knew about the recent revelations regarding human military personnel. They had been told that humans were secretly planning attacks on Imperial civilians, presented as a preemptive defensive action. The mission would seem not only legal but necessary. The Void's Edge turned toward human space, its massive engines pushing the dreadnought toward Earth at maximum velocity. Marcus Chun received the alert 6 hours later while still aboard Nexus Station. Human intelligence networks throughout the galaxy had been monitoring Imperial ship movements since the Vextar revelations. A Zephyrian dreadnought heading toward Earth at combat speed was front-page news across every human world. "He's going for a final strike," Marcus told Zira as they watched the news reports. "He knows his career is over, so he's trying to provoke a war." The Altarian information broker nodded grimly. One dreadnought against Earth's defenses shouldn't be much of a threat. Your homeworld has extensive orbital fortifications. Marcus shook his head. You don't understand? Vexstar isn't planning to attack Earth directly. He's planning to attack me. The tactical display showed the Void's edge would reach the Sol system in 18 hours. Marcus had roughly 16 hours to reach Earth first and prepare for the confrontation. Vexstar was gambling that Marcus would come to defend his homeworld, giving the Admiral a chance for personal revenge. You can't face a dreadnought alone, Zero protested. That ship carries enough firepower to level continents. I don't need to fight the whole ship, Marcus replied, already planning his approach. I just need to fight one admiral. Marcus contacted his old friend Sarah Kim, who had been monitoring the situation from her own ship. Within 2 hours, they were aboard a fast courier vessel heading toward Earth at maximum speed. The ship belonged to another human veteran who had received Marcus's warning about Vexstar's assassination campaign. So what's the plan? Sarah asked as they studied intelligence reports about the approaching dreadnought. Vexstar wants me personally, Marcus explained. He'll demand single combat once he reaches Earth. The Empire has laws about honor duels between military officers. If I accept his challenge, he can't use his ship's weapons without violating Imperial code. And if you refuse? Then he bombards Earth and blames it on human treachery. Either way, he gets what he wants. Either I'm dead, or humanity is at war with the Empire. Sarah studied the tactical situation. There has to be another option. Marcus smiled grimly. There is. I'm going to kill him before he reaches Earth. They arrived at Earth with 4 hours to spare. Marcus immediately contacted Earth Defense Command, explaining the situation to Admiral Harrison, his former commanding officer. The human admiral listened carefully as Marcus outlined Vexstar's likely strategy. You're proposing to board an enemy dreadnought single-handed? Harrison asked. Marcus, that's suicide, even for someone with your skills. Not single-handed, Marcus replied. I'm proposing to use their honor code against them. Vexstar has to accept a formal challenge if it's delivered properly. Harrison pulled up the relevant Imperial laws on his screen. According to this, you have the right to demand satisfaction for the murders of your unit members. But the combat has to take place on neutral ground, not aboard his ship. Then we give him neutral ground, Marcus said. The Luna observation station is technically neutral territory under Imperial law. If I challenge him there, he has to accept or lose face with his own crew. The Luna station was a scientific outpost in Earth's moon orbit, jointly operated by humans and several allied species. It was legally neutral ground under multiple treaties, making it perfect for Marcus's purposes. Admiral Harrison authorized the plan reluctantly. You'll have backup standing by, but we can't intervene directly without violating the same laws you're using to force this confrontation. Marcus understood. This would be personal combat between two individuals governed by ancient imperial traditions. Outside interference would invalidate the entire process and give Vexstar justification for attacking Earth. The Void's Edge arrived in the Sol system exactly on schedule, massive and threatening against the backdrop of space. Its weapons were powered, but not aimed at any specific target. Vexstar was being careful to avoid giving Earth's defense's justification for attacking first. Marcus transmitted his challenge from Luna Station, using the formal language required by Imperial law. Admiral Vexstar of the Zephyrian 4th Fleet, I am Marcus Chun. Formally of the Earth Defense Force, I demand satisfaction for the unlawful deaths of my comrades, killed by your order in violation of Imperial peace treaties. 1. Invoke the ancient right of single combat, to be held on neutral ground according to Imperial tradition. The response came quickly. Challenge accepted, human. I will meet you on Luna Station in 1 hour. Come armed, for this will end only in death. Marcus spent the remaining time preparing his equipment and his mind. This would be different from his usual long-range work. Close combat against a trained Zephyrian warrior. Fought with whatever weapons Imperial law allowed. Vexstar arrived at Luna Station aboard a small shuttle. accompanied only by a single aide who would serve as witness. The Zephyrian admiral was impressive in person, tall and lean with the reptilian features of his species. His eyes burned with hatred as he looked at Marcus. "So you are the human who destroyed my career," Vextar said, as they faced each other in the station's main cargo bay. "You look smaller than I expected." "Humans usually do," Marcus replied calmly. "We're not built for intimidation. We're built for results." The combat rules were simple. Each fighter could choose any weapon available in the station's armory. The fight would continue until one participant was dead or incapacitated. No outside interference was permitted. Vextar selected a traditional Zephyrian blade, a curved weapon designed for his species' longer reach and greater strength. Marcus chose something that surprised everyone present, a simple combat knife barely longer than his hand. "A knife against a sword?" Vextar laughed. "Are all humans this foolish, or just the ones I've killed?" Marcus tested the knife's balance and nodded approvingly. "Tell me, Admiral, how many of my people did you face in personal combat?" "None. I am not an assassin. I simply ordered their deaths." Vextar raised his blade. "But I will enjoy killing you myself." The combat began with Vextar's aggressive charge. The Zephyrian was fast and skilled, his blade weaving complex patterns that kept Marcus at a distance. But the human veteran had fought alien warriors before, during the Integration Wars. He knew their strengths and their weaknesses. Zephyrians were stronger and faster than humans, with superior reach and reflexes. But they were also proud, used to intimidating enemies through displays of strength. They expected opponents to back down or fight defensively. Marcus did neither. He moved inside Vextar's guard, accepting a shallow cut across his shoulder to get close enough to strike. His knife found the gap in the Admiral's armor. Sliding between scales to draw first blood, Vextar hissed in pain and rage, backing away to reassess his opponent. "Impossible. No human could be that fast." "You're thinking like a predator," Marcus said, circling slowly. "Humans aren't predators. We're persistence hunters. We don't need to be faster. We just